On this episode of Blending Bourbon, Dixon's back, and we catch up and take a look at the future.
Blending Bourbon is the podcast that takes you beyond the barrel and behind the scenes of the whiskey industry with master blenders Dixon Dedman and David Mark Young.
Welcome back to another episode of Blending Bourbon. Back in the saddle, Dixon Dedman of 2XO Whiskey, joined as always by the owner, master blender of Golden Sheaf and the hero to metrosexual Sasquatches all over this great land, Mr. David Mark Young. Riding shotgun, our friend, producer, Myerton McHugh. Gentlemen, yeah, whatever. Hey.
It's Dixon Dedman. How are you?
I'm good. Good. I've missed you guys.
I've missed you too. It looks like you finally got off that boat and ready to walk the bourbon world with some more insides and whatever. That sounded weird. Sorry.
I'm rocking the insides or something. I don't know what.
Welcome back, man. We missed you too. We did. It was great.
Sure you did.
We've had some guests. We've had some adventures. Myerton and I did the best we could. You know, Myerton's got some talent and some skills. I have zero humor, so thank you for bringing that back and opening this up. Maybe apologize up front for all the listeners, followers that we lost in your absence.
I love the fact that, you all sent me a note that, in the 2 weeks I missed, we went from like 14 to 22 listeners, and like the biggest jump we've had ever. Super exciting. So I'm just going to kind of mute myself and watch.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, no, we're happy to have you back and get kind of back into the swing of things. But I don't know that there's any regularity to this. It's go, 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 go. I'm glad that we're able to. Well, I'll tell you what, man. Let's do a little cheers here to welcoming Dixon Dedman back. I actually chose not one, not two, 4 different whiskeys for various reasons, and I'm happy to share with you why.
Do tell.
Yeah. Well, did you happen to pour yourself something?
I did, and just to clear this up, we decided that as a little, hey, nice to see you all again, we would scrounge around and find something and maybe share a pour and where it came from. I didn't, as always, I have one. David has 4 because he's got to, flex.
I'm an hour behind you, so I have to catch up.
Okay, there you go.
What did you bring?
Well, I'd tell you more about this later during the catch-up period, but I had this very cool experience yesterday in my office. I had a group that's doing this really neat little project here in Kentucky, and I've been kind of advising on that and helping them with that, and so I thought they were just coming up to like pick my brain, and then they rolled up and they had 2 videographers and this whole setup. So and they brought cases of old cool whiskey. Wow. At 9:00 in the morning.
Perfect.
And about 10 minutes before they got here, Jim Rutledge is knocking on my door. So he joined to kind of chat, and I had to bounce out of here, but we talked, they interviewed me, I had to leave. And so I left them the key to my office, and they did their thing, finished up. And when I got back to my office today, they had left about 5 or 6 really cool bottles with a pour or 2 left in them, and said, "Here, wow. kill some bottles," which I certainly appreciated. And
that's cool.
I thought it was a pour, and so I poured it in the glass, and it turned out to be like quite a pour.
Oh yeah, nice.
That's a legit pour. But it was this 17-year-old
Nice.
wild turkey Masters Keep bottled and bond, which I didn't try yesterday, so I'm very excited to. But that's what I've got, David.
Nice. That's a nice bottle. I like that. I picked, I'll just tell you, I saw a post yesterday. I don't know if it was recent, but I saw you were on the golf course with some gentlemen, and it made me think of this bottle. It's a bottle of 15-year IW Harper. Always a good. Are you familiar with this?
Very much so. I was the furrowed brow was how that, because it looks like a golf ball.
It's a golfer. There's a guy putting, right?
Okay.
Or no, oh, shit, that's not a golfer. I just looked at it. It's a guy that chucks tip in his head.
Does the etched glass remind you of a golf ball? I don't know. Yeah,
I was scrambling. I was on the phone when good thing Myerton is like a super editor, right?
No, I'm leaving
I'll
that
skip
in.
on
I
him.
don't know why you would take that out. That just
Because I thought it was, the funny thing is I actually have that decanter, the guy in the tux tipping his hat. It's sitting over there.
very good. Very good.
Woo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
Like
All right.
and you said you said you didn't bring the comedy to this. Like that is golden comedy right there, David.
Speaking of golden, thank you for that segue. So I was thinking, that's what Dixon brings to the table. Let me confirm
That's
this.
also
Yeah.
why I selected this wild turkey, because I in
that was my
golf,
nickname in high school.
if one score is under par, you call it a turkey. And so, oh wait, no, that's birdie. Sorry, I got that totally wrong. Yeah, my bad.
Oh, that's gold. That's gold, baby. That's gold. So I've got some Blanton's gold.
Okay.
That's my second up. And yeah,
That is a
carry-
horse on top of that, David. Just
That
just
is
to be clear,
not
that
a Great
is-
Dane.
That is a horse.
That is not a Great Dane with a little Star Wars figure on top of it. Yep, I do agree. But yeah, you carry your weight.
Like I was watching Star Wars, so I got this bottle that has a tauntaun with Luke Skywalker riding on the back of it, and I brought it out. It's called Blanton's Gold.
And then
When you get inside of it, it'll warm you up, right?
and then and I thought they smelled bad on the outside. And then because you're the rock of this podcast, Dixon, I got some Rock Hill Farms. Yeah. And then last but not least, on a scale from 1 to 5, I rate you as a 10. So I had to break out some Michter's 10-year. So I've got a variety. I've got a smorgasbord of
I think
whiskeys here to
three
taste.
three out of the 4 you nailed. I mean,
I know.
I think
We
that-
got a Tauntaun Gold, and we got Birdie 15. So good Lord. Sorry, Myerton, creating all this work for you. You're gonna edit all this out, right? You're gonna
This is all
Mm.
this
great
is all
content.
this is
Yeah.
all great stuff. So
believe it or not, folks, none of this was scripted. We didn't actually plan any of this, believe it or not. But welcome back. Cheers to you, sir.
Yeah, cheers.
Myerton, sorry to leave you hanging.
I intended to have a Sunkist, but I got a Mountain Dew instead,
Oh,
which
wow.
I'm told it was originally designed to be a mixer for moonshine. So I guess this is appropriate almost.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
And look at that glass, by the way.
those are cool glasses.
It's turned out nice. Yeah. A neat taster.
Yeah, so
I saw that. Yeah, some 2XO.
I did. I did roll out of here yesterday, and super cool experience. Got to participate. There's a PGA event going on in Lexington, and played in the Pro-Am. So we played with these two
Nice.
young guys, and the first guy we played with, great golfer. He's from Switzerland, and they've got like 50 people from the European tour that got exemptions to come over and play in this event because this week they're doing like the Scottish Open, which leads up to the British Open or whatever. So some of them are over here doing that. Neat kid. The second, basically the second guy that we played with was about 30 years old. Virginia Tech guy, lives in Charlotte. Because my mom is, oddly enough, I remember one of the first expensive pours, is just side note, of bourbon that I was like 21 years old, whatever year that was, 2002 or something like that.
2022.
And I was at this bar and I was like, well, I need to try this. That Rock Hill Farms. It had just come, or I hadn't seen it before. But my mother is from a town in South Carolina called Rock Hill, and so I popped that Rock Hill Farms. It happens to be close to. Anyway, this kid this kid was like, bourbon. You do bourbon, and I was like, yeah. I mean, it's funny how it went from, this is. I mean, these pros are like, this is lame. I got to go out here and play 9 holes with a bunch of hackers. And really all I need to do is focus on trying to win a golf tournament. And by the end of it, he's like, so can I get your contact information? Maybe y'all, would y'all think about sponsoring me? Like, it's like, it turned into a full on pitch. Like,
It always does.
I could put your logo on my bag and on my shirt and all this stuff. It was really kind of funny how that kind of works or whatever.
You're like, my name is David Mark Young, and call me at this number.
No, the kid's a stud. He is a good player. I was like, well, let's see. You win this tournament, we'll talk. But
yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, I am Dixon Dedman. How old was he? 30, you said?
Probably, yeah.
Or were they whiskey drinkers?
They were young enough where I think they were at that point when they're not like on the golf course or whatever, they'll drink anything that's not tied down or, another weird story, but a while back, we went to, this great dinner with my wife's, family, and, you're just, we go to a nice restaurant now and you get like, I'm over the sticker shock. I just know that the bottles of wine are going to be what they are. The drinks are going to be what they are. And, the prices keep going up and up and up and up. And so my sister-in-law is like, there's this great bar next door. We got to go have one more. You know what I mean? And so we go to this bar and she's like, we're going to be the oldest people in here by 20 years. And it's like, okay, that'll be fun. Let's go. And I walk in. And I went to the bar and I was like, I need whatever, the like 4 vodka and sodas and 4 beers and 2 of these and, whatever. I ordered around for everybody. And, the bartender's like, that'll be $22. And I was like, no, I mean, for all of it. And he was like, yeah. And you kind of forget that like, so that's like these guys were talking about, the prices of all the booze and restaurants, the first couple nights they were in Lexington, and then they're like, but then we found, the just drinking differently when you're 24 or 25 or whatever, then.
Well, yeah.
Sorry, that was just out of nowhere, but.
It's a good story.
But I get it. Yeah. Those kids, it was like, I love whiskey.
Yeah. Another Fireball. Yeah. Did they have 2XO at the?
Not this year, but we're going to make it happen next year.
Yeah. Well, there you go. It's always about Well,
that
can't help but notice that stuff.
That's an interesting question because I know you guys are building relationships with the vendors and distributors and all this other stuff. But how often are you guys approached for on sponsorships and stuff like that? That's an interesting perspective of returning your investment essentially.
I mean, I think there's like two categories, right? I mean, there's the brands that are owned by billions of dollars of international corporations that get to pick and choose the
Right.
top flights of whatever they do with their stuff. And I mean, hell, when we registered yesterday, it was in a Casamigos tent, and they had all this Casamigos everywhere and all this who knows what they pay for that, and who knows if there's a real return on that investment for them. I don't know. I mean, I just commented on it, so I guess at least 24 people are going to hear that Casamigos was it. But it's crazy the price of like the festivals and the events and the activations that are available to brands now, and the prices for some of these things. I mean, to be a part of some of these larger like food and wine festivals, it's $25,000 just to get in the door for these things. Like,
Right.
and then what are you doing? You're just pouring a bunch of your stuff in plastic cups for people who are going to drink 90 things that day. And
Yeah.
do you have the opportunity to connect? And, I mean, yeah, I'd love to sponsor this kid because he's a great kid and I hope he does really well and whatever. But, whatever he would charge me to put our logo on the sleeve of his shirt, like, are there enough people watching and paying attention to this kid and his shirt to make that worth the investment? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
kind of like wrapping your truck, I mean,
yeah. I mean, there's mega value in that. I get pictures daily, literally daily. People, they're like,
of your neighbors that are saying, get this out of the damn driveway.
why is this here? This is a residential neighborhood. No, I literally, it's people post it on Facebook and whatnot, and it's cool because they see it, and that's why we did it. But they, it's like a picture of the car lengths down the road.
Why don't you create an Instagram account for like the Golden Sheaf Wagon, and then put on the back of it like tag at Golden Sheaf Wagon, and whatever.
Get something free. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a great idea. Absolutely. I mean, pull the thread even further, but we get all kinds of pictures and inquiries. And the other day we were out to dinner and look out the window, and it was parked out front, and I could see people gathering around it and scanning the QR codes on the side. There's QR code to the website for buying bottles direct, mail order, and then there's one on the back for the podcast. And I love that. So you'll see content of, me creeping on people that are creeping on the Golden Sheaf mobile. It's cool. It's working.
No, but I mean, at a certain point, right? I mean, if you've got if you sell 50 bottles, maybe less than that, 35, 40 bottles through the QR code on the Sheaf Wagon, you've paid for the wrap on the Puke Mobile, right? I mean, if you
the Puke Mobile, yeah, yeah, for sure. I feel like we already have. And College World Series was in full effect and so I was like, well, let's just go cruise around College World Series. And the cool thing about that was we ended up going to a game in LSU. I don't think we talked about this, but LSU was playing. I forget who they were playing at the time, but the LSU fans kept coming down. We were sitting right behind the first base line, and this gentleman from LSU came down and he, rallied the troops. Hey, Omaha, we're from Louisiana. We spend a ton of cash in your city. Let's root for LSU. And everybody's like, yeah. And so I hand him a business card when he walks by. He grabbed it, and then he comes back. Wow, cool business card.
I was going to say, is he coming back with a medical bill because he cut his finger on it or something?
Yeah, but he came back. He's a cool business card. So this is bourbon whiskey. And I said, yeah. I said, matter of fact, it just occurred to me that in that we've got an expression on the shelf now that actually has a Louisiana component to it. It's a blend of 3 different, and it has Louisiana. And he says, come with me. So in the middle of this baseball game, 7th inning stretch, I go running up to this massive crowd of LSU fans, and he's like, hey, this guy's from Omaha. He's got a bourbon company. And so I just told that little tidbit, that, yep, we got this. They literally bought every bottle off the shelf in
That's
Omaha.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Boom. It just, and you learn from that. And And next we'll have some Alabama bourbon, and whatever. I mean, there's geographic marketing, and so yeah, it worked out nice. But we get
there's no question that what that. So it's the icebreaker, right? It's I got your attention. I need to know more. I mean, it pays for itself in spades. I mean, I'm not sure that, it's not a billboard, but it's people are going to say, well, what is that? And it opens a door for you. And then you can make those connections, and they pay off in spades. Those people just became huge advocates of your brand, of what you're doing. And they went back to Louisiana and told everybody that would listen. I met the guy. I talked to the guy. Mm-hmm. It's awesome.
Well, two points there. One is the front end. It looks like a cop car. So it's funny. I'll be driving down the highway, and you'll see these cars slowing down. They must see in the rearview mirror, because it's all black from the front, and then it says Golden Sheaf across the bottom. So it probably looks like an Omaha PD cruiser.
The Golden Sheriff is after it. Oh no, that says Golden Sheaf. Okay, we're fine.
So I see brake lights. So it's like cool. This thing's got a tractor beam too. Like, I'm just reeling these people in, and then when I pull up alongside of them, they're like, "Oh, hey, what's that? That's cool." But yeah, I mean, all these things are.
I thought I was getting pulled over, and now I want to buy whiskey.
Now I want to get pulled over. Pull me over, yeah. I'm gonna give you a citation and a shot, and a pour. But there's.
Then they see you driving it, and they're like, "Oh wow, he looks famous."
He must know Dixon Dedman. Right. But no, it's like you talked early on about going out, the value of going out and doing these events, and then ending up in a enthusiast group basement, jokingly. But there's truth to that. Like, and I've been doing a number of those. As a matter of fact, I was looking here, the Elkhorn Track and Whiskey Club. Got back in town Tuesday morning, and Tuesday night went and met with these guys. Great bunch of guys, drink whiskey. It's just a neighborhood cool whiskey club. Mm-hmm. And we're in there, and talk about winning fans over. You get in there and you drink a little bit of whiskey with them, spend some time with them, talk to them, share, and they're fans. Next thing you know, they're posting, they become advocates, and but the value of that, then inevitably you do these things, and there's one or two good connections, lucrative connections that fall into place, and it ends up being some partnership or collaboration, and so yeah, I mean, it's. You got to work the trenches, as you know, but there's the value in that is eventually you just get to the point where it's too much.
Yes and no, but I think I had this 2 days ago, this client in my office, and he was telling me about this project he wants to do and this thing, and all this stuff, and he had this very interesting concept, and the one thing that I kept coming back to with him on the concept, on the brand, on what he was proposing is, I was like, packaging, very important. We've talked about that. Packaging, very important.
We have talked
juice,
about that.
What's in the bottle.
Right.
Incredibly important. That's it, but what I kept challenging him on was, how are you going to take this concept and make it relatable? How, there has to be, I think, in my experience, there has to be authenticity. That's the third key component now, is, I think this concept was a touch too arbitrary or obtuse, or not relatable. And I was like, you can go into these clubs and with these groups and spend time with these people, and they can come out going, I'm not even really sure what just happened there, because there's this dude and what he's got and what he's talking about don't jive.
Right.
Whiskey's good, cool bottle shape, but I mean, what you want is people to make that personal connection to whatever you're doing, and being your authentic self, and it being an expression of you is very important. Obviously, you've got that figured out with Golden Sheaf, and so you've got this great thing that kind of gets you in the door, but that's what makes you so good at what you're doing is that people are like, this is also this really cool dude that's passionate about something that he's doing, and he's not just taking juice he buys from somewhere and putting it in a bottle and claiming it's his and then trying to tell a story about it. It's his creation, it's his artwork, it's his. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I preach the gospel. You meet folks that aren't familiar with blending. They just assume that somebody dumped some barrels out, filled bottles up, and that's what's in the bottle. That's what they're drinking. Then you've got those that know better and they have an opinion about it. And that's one thing I love is telling that story, especially to a group, because there is and thanks, by the way. That's I want to be personable and I want to be authentic and be able to relate to people. And I say this all the time. I'm a bourbon fan at heart. That's all I am. Is I am passionate about bourbon. And we go in, we do these. My business partner Sean will introduce me as the most passionate guy, and blah blah blah. And boom, that's my pump up time. And I deliver these messages with passion, and it's hey, here's what's going on. We got this great backstory. That's great, but we'll complement it with this, and this is why it's such a good whiskey, and why it's a high price point, and we're targeting that luxury brand category, and get into the processes of how we create a blend and how we proof it, and all of the creativity behind it. And I say this too all the time. I repeat myself all the time, but it's about quality, not just quantity. It's about the quality in the bottle.
It's funny. I was thinking as you were talking about this, I like that's that relationship building at the consumer level, like getting to know these people, getting connected there, because we're all just bourbon people. Right. We're all just like, what can I pour for you next? What can you pour for me next? What can, and we were talking about this earlier, looking at it, because we've got 3 big releases coming up, and I have just got this insane amount of anxiety about all the travel and the meetings and it's just insane the next, I don't know, through the end of the year. I mean, but like we had a call on Monday because I have this really big meeting on one day next week in Maryland with the buyers, head buyers for all of a big chain. I don't know if I can tell you who it is. Total Wine.
Total.
But which doesn't matter. But then they're like, there's all this prep work going into this meeting, and it's like, we're going over the slides and all this stuff, and I was like, I don't know, y'all. That's just not the way I roll. Like I'll try, I guess, but I'm pretty much a let's sit down and get to know people and talk about how, I was like, I'm not going to do very well if you want me to dress up and teach me how to dance. I was like, I'm kind of let's read the room. Let's see how, I feel like being I'm not very good at being anybody else but me. And they're like, no, we just want to have this. And I was like, well, that's fine. You can have it. And in the, but I kind of still want to treat everything just like those. Hey, I'm going to go hang out with these random 20 dudes in a whiskey club that just want to ask questions or
drink and talk whiskey,
tell stories, and
yeah, and be one of them.
I am one of them. That's all I am.
That's what I mean. Just be one of them
yeah.
and hang out and and hear their stories and share your stories and share whiskeys and compare and talk. And yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's enabler. That's what it's all about. So yeah, you try to cram the business element.
It's like, we'd like you to spend this amount of time on this slide, and I was like, yeah, that's not happening.
It's that cliche it's that old saying of a leopard can't change its stripes. You're like, well, Myerton, leopard don't have stripes. I go, right. Exactly.
I get it. That's so
you
far
think
over.
he should wear leopard print in these meetings?
See, that's over the golfer's head.
Yeah. But speaking of getting a group and gathering too, we will have just come fresh by the time this episode airs. Technically, yesterday David would have had another tasting at Proof 192.
Oh yeah.
What blends are featured there?
We've got kind of a surge to clear the shelves in preparation for our next two bourbon batch 3 and rye batch 2. However, there may be, can't confirm it right now, but there might be some samples of bourbon batch 3. Can't promise anything. Just kind of depends how the next couple of days go, but and then some of the other things that we have out on the market. Certainly that we did that collaboration, the finished in maple syrup cask with Proof and 6 other accounts. So we'll have that, but it's kind of it's cool. This thing's really. I was checking the numbers prior to jumping on here, and we're gonna have a good turnout. Hopefully next time we do a podcast, we'll have a big success story. Great place. Dixon, you were in Proof down in Midtown, whiskey bar, but there's one out west Omaha, Proof 192. It's off 192nd Street, and it's already a popular joint, and I mean, you advertise an event like this, and it's just one additional reason for people to come in on Whiskey Wednesday and taste some free whiskey, and they do a great job of. They're great partners. I mean, we're fortunate enough to have a lot of great partners, but. This is going to be an exciting event. It's going to be a lot of fun. Chris Stapleton will be in town. He may pop in for a pour. Just kidding. He will be in town, but you never know. I mean, he likes
you
to
never
sing
know
about whiskey.
that location. Peyton Manning randomly popped in it one day, so it's just like, Robert Mason climbed the ladder at that particular one as well. So
yeah, and Dixon, we had Robert on the episode last week. 2 weeks ago.
Robert and his dogs?
Just Robert. Just the dogs may have made a brief appearance, but it was a good episode. He brought his A game, and
Robert has one game. It's his A game. I mean, yeah.
It was awesome. He did. It's always good to have him.
Sorry, I was on a boat. I'm sorry I missed that.
Well, we made sure everybody knew you were on a boat.
Yeah.
With your flippy floppies. I'm on a boat. Yeah, we were very envious, but we made the best of it. It was good. It was a nice. We got a lot of good feedback from it, and but yeah. So future stuff. I mean, you're talking about these big meetings coming up, and it's funny how this ebbs and flows. Like we kind of get into this routine where, we're regular putting podcasts out, and then it just when it rains it pours. And I know you're going to be on the road 57 out of 60 days and
it's close. But it's the same thing. It's like your event in Omaha. I mean, I have these two really big like I can't say shit, and I can't say all of that stuff in these meetings. I have to, I can't, whatever. But then at the, so I got like 2 of these meetings, and then that night I'm going to a friend of mine who has a big store in the Baltimore area, and they've invited their whiskey club to this, and we're going to do a tasting. I'm taking a bunch of samples from some stuff that we're bringing out later in the year, and it's kind of like, it's funny. Like you go and you're like, I'm gonna take care of these business meetings.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go and
Check
let the old hair down and get real Dixon. And so there's
some whiskey.
There is a balance, I guess.
I get it. And the back to these things, the after the clubs, the whiskey enthusiasts, usually, I mean, these people do it right. This one we did just last night before, it was great. We got in there 7:30 at night, and I'm like, all right, we got a hard stop at 9 o'clock. You know me, I'm not great with healthy boundaries. And 2.5 hours later, I'm like, I gotta go. We're just but I was like, oh look, I forgot I brought this. Let's give this a try. And they're like, you get 20 glasses out. Oh yeah. But you get to know people. Like I said, you potentially make these connections. Potentially networking and opportunities. There's always some business that we got a long list of private barrels, private blend batches that we're going to do once we get our tasting room open. And but yeah, these folks, they go all out. I mean, and they have some fun too. They've got food in there. The guy that hosted, his wife came down and took group pictures, and and they love it. The guy, matter of fact, the guy that hosted, he gave me he was a military guy, and he gave me one of his unit patches. And that means a lot to a guy like me, having military background. I left a little sign, and we gave somebody a barrelhead, and we killed a bottle, so they want us to sign it and leave it, and he says, I got something for you. So he runs in the back, it's this patch. I'm like, man, that's from the heart. I mean, that's the real deal. That's it's a badge of honor. And so it was,
is that something like, would he have had multiples of those, or was that like he had one and he gave you the one he had, kind of thing?
I didn't ask him. It could have come off his uniform, but it's a symbol, right? He's probably got many for each of his uniforms. He's probably got some in his in a shadow box.
Can I this is a dumb question. If it's a dumb question, we can edit this out. But is that similar to like the challenge coin thing?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. I had one sitting here. Yeah, it's very similar. I mean,
I was like, this guy gave me one time. This guy, did something similar.
I'm gonna grab it.
And I, and he said, the next time you're going through the Louisville airport, just as you pass through security, look there on your right, and they've got this whole case of these challenge coins. And I honestly don't know the significance of why they're there just through security on the Louisville airport or not. But he was explaining to me the challenge coin concept or whatever. And I mean, I was deeply moved by that. I mean, I can only imagine the patch off somebody's uniform. That's some serious respect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like the American flag, right? People fight for our freedom, and so yeah, this is his unit patch, and it's an airborne unit.
Wow.
And so really cool stuff, and I got it set aside with the date and the his name and everything. So that's cool. It's real, especially for a guy like me. Like have collected military stuff. You know, my father was military, my grandfather was military. So that's just it. You're making a connection with.
But isn't
people
that it?
in
I
these
mean, we've
things.
talked about this a million times, right? Isn't that it? I mean, would you trade some rating from some public? What would you rather have? Like that meaningful, personal, one-on-one. Someone thought enough about what you were doing, what you created, what you made, to go and get that for you. That's all. That's legit validation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the personal connection, like that right there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
agreed.
that type of thing, those type of interactions on my worst days, or when I'm getting, when I'm up at 3:30 in the morning to go get on a 6 a.m. flight or whatever. Those are the things that push me forward. That,
Right.
And the selfless acts that or gifts or stories or connections. I mean, those are the types of things that do it for me. I think that story that is, I would treasure that if I were you. That is really
Oh,
cool.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I have a box, a tote of things that people have given me kind of throughout this. And I want to organize it a little better. And I've kind of had this idea of, framing them, I mean, their experiences for for lack of a better term, like a, scrapbook kind of thing. But I think it'd be kind of cool in the tasting room, have a wall of things that, they're memorable things. It goes back to like Freddie Johnson's thing, the bottle, like sharing a bottle. You have, whoever you shared it with, put the name and the date. It's, nostalgic. So yeah, especially this stuff. I mean, this guy's a career, military's, been in the shit, and he's fought for this. There's a lot of emotion behind it. There's a lot of it. So absolutely, yeah, it's a great honor. Absolutely, definitely
And
a
that
keeper.
he thought enough of you to share that with you, because he's so proud of something you made. You can't. That's.
Yeah, absolutely grateful for that. I wouldn't trade that for, double platinum at whatever international competition. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great experience.
And I don't know about, sorry, David. I don't know about you, David, but I think to answer Dixon's question of how many patches would be probably had, like I know for me, I didn't have any more than 4 different types I had 4 BDUs and like 4 sets of patches. So
Right.
So probably that I would assume the same thing for.
Oh yeah.
For him.
He's not giving them out to everybody. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
so he has 4 to, like, if he's giving them out, he's probably got 4.
Yeah.
And now he's down
So
to 3.
this is not like a fancy metal business card. This is a lot more important.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. There's
That's
meaning
awesome,
behind
man.
it. Yeah.
That's so damn cool.
It is very cool. Yep. Those are what, I was pacing around here on the phone earlier, dealing with a bit of a crisis, and I had looked down. I was looking for, through my cards, and I saw this sitting there, and it just kind of took me back. And, I'm not saying that's what curbed my edge, but I'm able to deal with this crisis without kind of losing my cool. You're talking about Fort Louisville, the airport, and the challenge coins, and there's just a lot of military. There's number of bases, Fort Campbell, Fort Knox, and on in Kentucky. Matter of fact, I was at Fort Knox. I went to school there after going through Marine Corps boot camp and then going through Marine combat training, and then my first school was at Fort Knox a long time ago. And I remember coming through there. But last time I was there, just a week ago or week and a half ago, there were cadets, I think, coming in from what do you call it, Martin? ROTC, college ROTC. I think they were coming in for like a boot camp type of thing, and so they were kind of corralling them all up together and yelling at them and stuff, and it was pretty exciting. I took pictures and threw food at them like they were zoo animals. But no, it was cool. It was.
But you can say that because you're in the military. Like, if
Oh
I said
hell
that,
yeah, yeah.
I'm like, you know.
I was, but there's just, you see that, and maybe as a civilian that doesn't have a background, that you don't recognize that, like it's kind of off to the side too, and you think, oh, it's just a bunch of rowdy Boy Scouts or something, but no, they're getting ready to ship them off and treat them like they're gonna whip them into shape.
They're like, oh my goodness, they're being hazed.
Yeah, be nice to that young lady. But it's just kind of cool, and they look like such children. That's I'm getting old in my old age. Anywho,
I think before they left, they were in that same bar I was in, where my entire tab was $22. I think that's
sure were.
Should have. I may have bought them around. I don't know.
Man, I love that airport in Louisville, and I inevitably buy a few bottles each time you go through security, and then you get down to that. You go either left or right, but right in the middle, they've got that place off to the right, and I
know. I went through there right after we launched the Innkeeper's Blend, and I get through, and there's like, it's, I don't know, maybe it was like an 8 a.m. flight, like 7 something, and there are 12 bottles of the 2XO Innkeeper's Blend on the shelf, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, and it was like a 4-day trip, and when I came back, they had 2 left, and I was like,
nice.
Now that's badass.
That's cool. You should have signed them. Did you sign them?
No, okay, well, I mean, in the airport, they don't ask questions; they just arrest you. Like, why is this dude writing on bottles? He must be crazy. And he's a
shoot. Sign them, let them take your picture, and then they'll, then they're. But yeah, I was just in there, and they had in the back, there was a line of these, something I haven't seen in a long time, the Green Label Old Forester rye bottles, like 100 proof, screw cap, one of my favorite ryes. Just I haven't seen them in years and years, like $30 or something. So I grabbed a couple.
All right, wrapping up, because Myerton has more important things to do.
Important things to do.
The big finale is golf ball, tauntaun, big rock, or I don't know,
gold, baby.
The 10-year-old. What's doing it for you?
Which one?
Which one? I mean,
I think it's the Rock Hill.
Really?
It's the Rock Hill. Yeah, I think so.
Is that an old one?
I don't. It is. Yeah, it's 5 or 6 years old. I don't know. I love Michter's 10-year, both bourbon and rye. I could sit here and keep going all the way up and down until I can't see straight, and would argue why each one's better. That's kind of why I pulled a couple of my favorites out.
This thing keeps getting better and better and better and better. This is getting richer, more. It's like this crazy butterscotchy, buttery, syrupy, nosy thing with just the right amount of spice on the back end. I mean, this just keeps getting better.
What else?
Which one did you have again?
This is
Dixon?
the 17-year-old Wild Turkey bottled in bond, Master's Keep. Wow.
Yeah. Hey, question for you before we wrap up. I heard you had a guest today in your office. Do you want to talk about that?
I mentioned that. Yeah, I did. So yeah, Mr. Rutledge came by yesterday. He was in for a little bit, and I don't know. I mean, I think they're just like, obviously we all have our family members that we respect and look up to and try to emulate. I mean, I always wanted to be my dad. I still want to be my dad. I mean, he's what a man is for me. My grandfather, certain people, they were just, and in the hospitality business, there were people that helped me that I could reach out to, that I could connect with, that I could, we could riff or bitch or whatever. But I don't think there's anybody in bourbon that's been better to me, more patient and understanding, has spent real time with me, and I think of him. He's a very 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 special person to me, and he was. And then when you see those people that are really special to you and they're excited to see you, it was really good to connect, to be able to tell old stories and talk I was just, it was a really really special morning for me to kind of spend some time. The guys we were with, or that came, also brought an 80 something, 86 I think it was, Four Roses, one of the first single barrels they ever did, and that kind of squat bottle with a green label on it. And so we all shared some of that, and Jim was telling stories about that, and we started talking about things we had done together, and whatever. I mean, it's just really, it's really special. And when somebody like Jim Rutledge says, I'm really proud of you and what you're doing, and you're doing it right. Like that's
awesome.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
It was a good. It was a good little. It's just those moments, right? It's just
right.
It's just being with the right people in the right setting, or sometimes it doesn't have to be the right setting. But it was cool.
Good. That's cool. You got any of that bottle left?
Maybe.
I'm gonna trade you some Golden Sheaf.
I just want to ride in the. I want to ride in the Sheaf mobile.
The puke mobile. I'll come pick you up. You can drink some Golden Sheaf, and we'll trade.
No, it's not too far around the corner.
Right.
Don't say that. He'll be here in like 9 hours if I.
Oh, I'll be down there. Yeah, I'll be down there next week and the week after for bottling. Yep. A lot of time. Well, great talk.
Yep.
Welcome
good
back
catching
again.
Up. Good to be back. I think, yeah, it's we got a lot of irons in the fire right now, so a lot of stuff to talk about. But good to catch up, and look forward to next time.
We have a special guest, a couple guests lined up, but for possibly next episode. Myerden's like, what? Maybe Myerden doesn't know yet.
Oh, but, we'll fill you in next week.
We lined them up. So I'll let you know after the episode. But I'm excited about it. It's a heavy hitter. This is my Steve Nally replacement. Sorry, Steve, but I'm moving on. I'm now a fanboy of someone else. So to be continued. Gentlemen, cheers. Everybody, Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, we'll see you.